Hello, welcome to the Afrocentric Woman After Dark. I'm going to talk about roster dating. I'm going to talk about roster dating. I will give you some updates, and I will also answer questions if you have any, or if there's something that you would want to share with the other ladies, then you can come share it too. All right, beautiful people. So, if you listen to my last live or maybe the live before, I'm not sure which one it was, but I told you guys that I had a really bad date. And I was like, I will come and update you about it later because I wanted to tell you like where I went wrong, and I still will. So, but I've redeemed myself. I've redeemed myself, and I am back on track with my new guy. I mean, with that same guy. And I've got some very promising and sweet people in in the pipeline. Um, and I'm excited about that. And I just wish I had more time. That's all. Like, time is challenging to juggle, but I'm sure that everything will come. So let me start off by trying my very best to be quick about this bad date. So I went on the first date with this guy, and it was great. We went to a 5-star restaurant for brunch. We had a great time. And then we ended up going out the next weekend. So I wasn't sure about getting a nanny, and I just wasn't sure about that. And I didn't know how I was going to deal with childcare. But he was really smitten on the first date and followed up with me throughout the week and kept asking for a date on Saturday. But I was like, yeah, maybe we can hang out this weekend. And it's not that I didn't want to see him, and it's not that I didn't want to go out. I just wasn't sure about childcare. So I'm hemming and hawing, and I'm not really responding definitively about what we would do. And so he sent this message, and he was like, well, I just figured, we could go shopping and then, hang out further. And of course, shopping is very motivating for me. So I was I was more so motivated after I heard shopping. And so I said, well, let me get to it and let me see if I can get a nanny. Because yes, the nanny's a bit expensive, but hey, if I'm going to get a nice bag or if I'm going to get something nice at the mall, then, I'm getting more than I'm spending out. You know what I mean? So I agree to meet him at the mall, one of our higher end malls, and go out to dinner with him. So I'm late, it's raining, yada yada, and I'm running late. And so I finally get there. And when I got there, I mean, I had in mind what I wanted to get, and I had in mind that I was going to go to get it from Nordstrom. But, and that's in, I ended up meeting him at the cafe in Nordstrom's, and it was like, he was like, well, let's grab dinner. You ready to eat? And I was just like, I just felt overwhelmed. Like, I just felt, if you've ever been like, if you have like an abusive or traumatic background, or if it's just as how your brain works, where you kind of like, you don't process things too fast. And that's kind of what happened. Like, I had one way of thinking, and then I was bombarded with something else, and I hadn't processed and formulated my idea. So I was like, let me sit down. What are well, he's like, well, we could shop or we could eat, but like, it's getting late, and I don't know if you're ready to have dinner. Like, are you ready to have dinner? Because there's restaurants here in the mall, and da 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 da. Okay, so before y'all, it's not the food court. Before y'all start thinking that it's the food court, it's not. This is like a high-end mall. So they have like, I wouldn't call them 5-star restaurants. I'd call them 4-star. They have these 4-star restaurants on the perimeter of the mall. And so it's like, well, there's restaurants here. We could get something to eat. And I was like, well, I thought we would shop, and I don't know what happened, but I was like, well, I guess, I don't know. I mean, like, maybe we could eat, and then, what time does Nordstrom close? Oh, I think they close at 9. Okay, well, maybe if we eat fast, we could like make it back to, I don't know what I was thinking. And I agreed to go on to dinner. So we go to dinner, and we have dinner. And then I'm irritated along the way. We stop at YSL, but YSL has like, we're in the line. They have, because of COVID, they only allow a certain amount of customers inside the store. And plus, just for security, period, like a lot of these high-end stores don't allow a gang of people in there because, like the bags are like 5,000 and up, right? So you can't have, the store can never be full, if that makes any sense. So there's a line to wait to be able to get into YSL. We stay there for about maybe like 10 minutes and we don't move at all in the line. It's almost about to close. So I'm like, well, okay, fine. We're not going to get in YSL. Let's just go ahead and go to dinner. So I'm kind of irritated, but then I have a glass of wine. I loosen up a little bit. We talk about stuff, about college. He went to Ivy League school, and we talk about university and education and our backgrounds and stuff like that. We finally get our table. And then I asked him, I was like, well, I just want to know what happened to shopping today because I was thinking we were going shopping. And he was like, why would you think that? And I said, well, you text me that you want to take me shopping. He's like, well, yeah, I just thought we'd look around the mall. And I was like, look around the mall? Wouldn't you say window shop if you meant look around the mall? And he was like, well, I mean, maybe possibly we could have looked at something and maybe possibly you could have gotten it. But, I wouldn't, I don't know. He said something along the lines like, I don't know why you would think that I was going to buy you something. And that triggered me. So I excused myself. I went to the bathroom. I used the bathroom and I actually cried. And that's like what just made it horrible because I felt so duped. You know what I mean? Like, you told me this, and then I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I didn't have enough time to process what was happening. All this is like internal stuff that's happening into me. So at that point, like, I'm probably like mostly done with my meal. And I'm just like not really talking, and he's talking. I'm like, well, you didn't even offer to fix it. And he's like, well, I apologize. And I was like, okay. And like that's not a remedy to the situation. And I was just so upset. So we walked to the car, to my car, and I'm like, bye. He unmatches me. I don't say anything. We don't talk for a while. And I was so upset, and I think I had recorded a video like that next day for y'all. And that's when I was like, "Oh, I had a horrible date. I'm gonna tell you all about it." Well, that's what it was. Since then, I wasn't. I didn't block him because I didn't feel like what he did was warranting a block, and it wasn't ratchet or anything. Or I didn't block him. He didn't block me. We just weren't speaking. And so I just over the week, I've just really gotten my mental together, and I've just really replayed in my mind uh, controlling my emotions. And it's not that I had an outburst with him. I went to the bathroom and I shed some tears, but still, like, it like, really, maybe I don't know where I was in the cycle, but like, I just realized that I have to get better control of my own emotions. Like, that's all me. And if a younger lady would have reached out to me and be like, oh, this guy wants me to meet him, because they're okay, if y'all don't know, there are girls, especially younger women, who meet older guys and the guys pay them to eat dinner with them. Like, that's a real thing. I know that some of y'all are not necessarily in the sugar baby circles and stuff like that, but I'm just relaying the message from the sugar baby land that it happens, right? So when the young women reach out to me and they're like, well, he said, we agreed on $150 and we agreed on 2-hour dinner. And, how should I bring up the money? And it's like, well, you need to get the money outside in a cash, right? In an envelope and, put it up and before the date. Like, don't do the date and be like, oh, okay, give me my money. So I didn't even take my own advice. I should have been like, let's go to Nordstrom's. before dinner, so that's kind of just how I replayed it in my head, that like I played myself. And the thing about a lot of guys, even when they're really, really wealthy, because this guy goes on and on about, oh, I have planes, I have money, da 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 da, been with this company this amount of years. And I did look up his salary. I know how much money he makes. I verified his assets, y'all. We'll have to do a whole nother video on vetting. So I already verified the assets and everything like that. He's telling the truth. This is like this is I don't know, 45-ish year old white guy. So I verified his home, his salary, his assets, his companies. So I pretty much already know like what he's working with. So yes, I had already knew what I was about to get at the mall. So anyway, this is just post the date and me thinking about what I should have done different. I let time pass, and I've just been really reflecting on what is it that these men want. All of them want sex, but what is it that they want that's not sex? And how can I not get sucked up into an emotional manipulation game? And how can I navigate to get things that I want? And also, I'm trying out the power of a suggestion instead of directly asking. So I've been more of an asker up until this point. I don't really hint that much. I'm like, send me this, give me that. Like, I've been a very direct person in that way. And I was like, okay, there's another way to do this. Power of suggestion, leading things on, letting it be their idea. So I thought to myself, let me try that route, and see where I get. And so that's just the mindset that I have. Now, the online dating, the online matching and whatnot, I feel like I will do another video of that because I have a screenshot. I have a screenshot from an African American male who was wasting my time. Well, I was kind of a little bit wasting my own time. And I was doing this for the purposes because I already told y'all that I was going to start doing more screenshots so that you can see them. So I was kind of trying to get in his head because I already kind of knew the route he was going down. But nonetheless, I was trying to get out of him, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he's like, he's not really answering me. And I'm like, what is your ideal first date? And he's like, oh, a walk in the park. I was like, a walk in the park. Um, I don't remember what I said, but I said something along the lines of like, I'm not going to do that. And he was like, well, I don't even date black women. This is an African American guy. He's like, I don't even date African American women. And I said, I just wish that we can just amicably divorce. The ones of you, the African American males who do not want to date dark skinned black women or black women, period, why can't we just divorce? Like, leave in peace, go in peace, be well, go after your preferences, like go after whoever it is that you want. We, the committee of the dark and the brown skinned black women, hereby declare you free to go. Please leave us alone. So he said that, and I mean, I already know. And see, so I'm going to do a separate video where I can walk through the whole conversation that I have the screenshots to, because part of the reason why some of these dusties offer you such a piss poor dating experience is because they will take you to Starbucks, but they will take their preference to a restaurant. They will tell you to meet them on a hiking trail so that they can, quote, get into nature because they're so fit. It's just a way to get a cheap free date. Meet me at the park so we can walk and see the scenery, because he's hoping that he can just keep seeing you for free, which is not really dating you. And then after he's seen you for a while, you'll just sleep with him because he'll eventually be like, hey, Netflix and chill. I want to cook for you, or I need a strong black woman in my life. I just need to see your domestic skills. Why don't you cook for me? Or you don't know how to cook? Cooking is the way to my heart. You know how these dusty ass African Americans be doing. Cooking is the way to my heart. So what you gonna do for me? And then you end up cooking him a meal, and then he smashes, and then he ghosts you. It's because you weren't his preference. He doesn't even date, like, quote unquote, date black women. So I would have never, so part of, it's not about being snobbish if you date, if you date to be like hypergamous, or you date up, or you have your standards, you have your requirements, you're literally saving yourself from dusties, and not just a dusty experience, but you're saving yourself from someone like this guy is swiping on me. He's trying to talk to me. And because I don't accept what he's offering, he's like, well, I don't even date black women anyway. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's a side note. Um, am I finished talking about, yeah, I'm finished talking about the bad date. I'm finished talking about that. So I've rekindled conversations with all of my men, most of the men that were on my roster who had either gone dormant or had kind of went away. So there was another guy who had kind of went away because he had two jobs, y'all, and he lost one of his jobs. So when he lost that second job, he lost me. You know what I mean? When he lost that second job, he lost me because I felt like, okay, if you need one job to pay your bills and then you have the other job to have fun with, I'm here for the fun, bro. So if the money is gone, I'm gone too. So when you get your money together, we'll see what we can do. But until then, I'm not about to be Netflix and chilling with you, sir. So there was him. So in other words, there was no bad blood between he and I. There was nothing bad, or there was no fight. I don't have those types of interactions with men. So I don't have those kinds of stories to tell. It was just a matter of he was getting stressed out because he didn't have as much money. You don't have the money to spend on me. I'm going to be stressed out. You stressed out. I'm stressed out. We ain't going to be good together. So and then there was the other guy from the other weekend that I told you about, the whole shopping misunderstanding debacle. And then I have like another friend who took me out for my birthday, and he's kind of around the peripheral. I have one of my main guys who his schedule is crazy. Haven't really been able to see him, but he still sends me money even when he can't see me, which whatever. I'm fine with that. I'll see you when I see you, bro. And then one of my out of town guys who sends me stuff, and we're trying to get it together, but whatever. So, my roster was kind of a little bit dormant, not really too active, and I really like trying to find time to date. And then that incident at the mall rocked my world. So I really needed to kind of just come back to the drawing board and regroup myself. And once I felt confident, like, okay, I understand seduction. I have a better understanding of power of suggestion. I have a better understanding of I need to keep my emotions in control. And if I can't keep my emotions in control, it's better to just maybe not say anything until I do, so that I can make sure that I'm keeping my eye on the prize and I'm not getting caught up in emotionalism. So, after I got that confidence, I started rekindling things, and I was very methodical the way I did it. I might send a half a text. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I just been thinking about dot, dot, dot. So I'm like drawing these men back in because they're like, what were you been thinking about? Tell me what you've been thinking about the next day. Well, what was on your mind? Like, they're so intrigued, right? And then I'll send together half of the text, and then I'll tell them about a memory, and I'll tell them about, what I see us doing in the future. And they're just gobble, 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 eating it up, eating it up, eating it up, eating it up. So, I'm getting my roster, moving, moving, moving. I'm getting everybody back engaged, back intrigued, back, in my aura. And I'm excited about that. And then boom, I have this car issue today. Oh my goodness. And I'll link the video to the last time I had a car issue. I'll link to that because that was a roster failure, right? So today was a roster win. So I had the situation with my car. It just wouldn't start. I went to the grocery store, went to the farmer's market to get some stuff, and came out. The car wouldn't start. So I get going with roadside assistance. After I get roadside assistance on the road, they're on their way to me. I reach out to my guys. Hey, my car won't start. My car won't start. I'm texting like 8. My car won't start. My car won't start. My car won't start. So who texted me back first? Um, Like my main guy, the one I don't ever have time. Well, it's not that I don't have time to see him. He don't really have time to see me, but it's fine. Whatever. He was like the first one to text back. He called, and then the responses start trickling back, and then that technician came. They couldn't help me, so they had to send a tow truck. I sent in the car. I'm texting with one of my guys. He sells cars. So I'm texting with him about the parts and blah, blah, blah. Get that situated. I'm exhausted. I go home. I take an Uber, leave the car at the shop, take the Uber home. And in the midst of that, I'm like, well, to one of my main guys, babe, this is how much it's going to be, da, 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 da. He doesn't even, like, this is how he is. He won't even respond to me. He'll just send me a screenshot of, like, this is your Zelle, right? Like, he's like, here's a screenshot of the Zelle I already done sent you. And I was like, oh, thanks, babe. I didn't ask him. So I guess that's like what the power of suggestion kind of is more so working for me, because I didn't ask him like, babe, can you send me the money, or can you take care of it? I was just like, this is what's going on, and this is what the mechanic told me it was going to be. So I never asked him to help me. He just sent the money. So boom, got that portion of, out the way, but I'm still communicating with my other guy. I still think his money is not where it really needs to be. So I'm telling him about the repair. He's not really responding to me. And I was like, well, babe, I need to Uber there, and I need to Uber back, and then I got to Uber to the school. I don't know when they're going to have the car. I had to do a lot of Uber. He was like, okay, well, how much is the Uber? And I was like, well, the Uber is this amount. He was like, okay. And then he just sent money. So he couldn't really take care of the repair, but he could take care of the Uber. Okay, keep in mind, these are like non-American men. Both of these men, non-American. He takes care of that. And then my other guy, he calls. Well, we're texting, and then he calls, and he's like, well, I want to see you. And I'm like, I kind of wanted to, but I was like, I got it. The car, I'm stressed. I'm not really like really fully, ready for you, and how, I like to present myself to you. So it's really not the best day, babe. He was like, well, that's fine. We'll find a day and keep me in touch. He's like, well, just let me know how much it is. That's what he said. Let me know how much it is. So I sent him, I sent him, okay, it's going to be X amount of dollars. And he's like, well, I'll take care of that. But this is my emotional guy. This is, okay, so we stopped talking because of he's overly emotional. He is so extra and dramatic. And so it put me in a position, because he was doing a lot of stuff for me. When we first started dating, he was doing so much stuff for me. And I was like, well, he wanted to I was going to go golfing with him. And I was like, well, I don't have any golfing clothes. Like, this is when my ask, can you send me some money for golfing clothes? This is how much it's going to be. I'm going to order the golfing clothes. He was like, well, I don't mind sending it, but I'm starting to feel like you using me like ATM, and I need you to reassure me. And I was like, reassure you? I ain't reassuring you of shit. I kind of had that attitude, like, I'm here. Why ain't that reassurance enough for you? You know what I'm saying? I just wasn't responding to him like I need, like just the extra, because I'm like, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not about to make you feel. Now my attitude is, whatever. If I can verbally feed you whatever it is that you need for you to continue to do for me, then I will do that, because this is what you want. This is what you need. Okay, fine. It's no sweat off my back. Do I feel like I should have to reassure you? No, I don't. Honestly. I honestly don't feel like that's my duty. I don't feel like I can manage your emotions. I don't feel like I can make you feel something one way or the other. But what if for whatever reason you think I do? So whatever. If you want to give me all that power, fine. Okay. I'm going to feed you what you want, what you need. So when he came at me today, before, when we're talking about it, he was like, well, I just feel like I this, and I'm going to these other women, and I want to get more from you, and da 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 da, and I'm doing everything to please you, and you don't know how I feel about you, and you're my queen. And he's not American either. Okay, this is the third non-American guy. And at least I feel like this, and woo 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 woo. And I was like, you're right, baby. This summer we're gonna be focused on you. It's all about you. I just started feeding him what he wanted to know. I didn't ask him. He just, by the time a few minutes passed by, cha-ching, my cash app is blinking. He didn't already send. So two people didn't basically pay for the repair. You know what I mean? Two of my guys, and thank you. I love them. You know, I really appreciate them supporting me because I appreciate it. I'm grateful. And so that was that. And I think that my out of town guy is just really busy right now. And God knows how many women he's entertaining. But I have a feeling that when he finally is able to get to my text message, he will likely send something too. Um, so that's that, you know, seducing, using your words, having fun. Don't take things seriously. You know, keep your emotions out of things because, you know, I've just been thinking. I ended up kind of like my last therapist. I ended up kind of like, I'm not going to say got into it with her, but we had a disagreement about this. And from that point forward, I decided that I'm never going to talk to you about my dating life. Like we could talk about, and maybe that's like my therapy with her probably is not the most bit. It's probably not the most thorough therapy because I won't talk to her about dating after this conversation we had. So my list for desires in men is short. Provider, number one. Number two, protector. And number three, emotionally stable. That's it. I don't have height requirements. I don't have race requirements. I don't have age requirements. I don't, I don't, I don't care if you're 72, if you rich and you know, I don't care about that kind of stuff. So my list is very small. And she was like, well, I can't believe you don't have spiritual on there. And I was like, ma'am, I'm not paying you to give me spiritual advice. Like, I didn't come here for religious counseling. You know what I'm saying? And, ma'am, like, that's not why I'm here. She's like, well, I can't believe that you're not here. You don't want a spiritual connection. And I was like, well, maybe it's semantics because I'm saying emotional stability and availability. And maybe your idea of spirituality is my idea of emotions. She's like, no, it's not the same. And I just think that with your name and you being as spiritual as you are, I would just expect that from you. And it was just like, she just had this look of disgust on her face, like that's not on my list. And I remember telling her, I'm like, well, if it's something that's important to you, spiritual connection. And I was like, well, she explained what her idea of it was. And she was like, you know, that those guys, when you can meet a guy and y'all can just talk all night and wake up and keep talking all day and you just have this deep connection. I was like, girl, no. I want my man at work. I don't want him sitting at home talking to me all day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I'm sorry. You know, we'll call her Jenny. I'm sorry, Jenny, but no, I don't feel like that. But I feel like if you do, I think that you should have it because I think that everybody should make their list. You should make a list of what is important to you. And then that is valid for you. So I'm not here to, and I would never be like, oh, why do you have a spiritual connection on your list? That's silly. No, if that's what you want, fine. But it's not on my list. And so I decided going forward from that point, like, I'm not going to talk to you about dating because no, because, and I told her, like, in a session previous, I said, you know, I feel like as if you're my therapist, you should only direct me towards things that are going to be healthy or unhealthy for me. So I could see you giving me negative feedback if my list was unhealthy. So if I said, "Oh, I want a nigga," excuse me, "I want a dude to dominate me and slap me, and that make me feel good," then I can see you as a therapist and being like, "Oh, you know, why don't you think about that list because that's not really healthy to have somebody slap you around. It could get out of hand." You know what I'm saying? If there was something on the list that would hurt me, or if there is something on the list that's not helpful, are not healthy for my mental health, then I could see you chiming in and showing concern about it. But my list is perfectly fine. Protector, provider, emotionally stable and available. There's nothing wrong with my list. Just because you project your idea of what you think I need onto me and you had this look of disappointment, that's That's where I feel like, that's not the best therapy. And she just looked at me like, I understand that you feel like that. She didn't apologize. And so I was like, that's fine, girl. We ain't gotta, we ain't gotta talk about, spirituality. All right, Mocha Mommy says some relationships are transactional for the definitive amount of time, and that's okay. We need to learn to stop prioritizing chemistry for every single relationship. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And, just upon further reflection and just listening to different women and just seeing sort of the conclusions that I've come to over time, I feel like we want too much from one man. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be the Prince Charming. He needs to be the provider. He needs to be he needs to be attentive to everything. He needs to be your best friend, your this, and it's just like it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So you're bound to be disappointed, and if you have so many different qualities that you're trying to get into one person, you're bound to follow the wrong one. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I do yoga, I meditate. I'm a tree hugger. I like gardening. I like those kinds of things. But if when I see guys who are yoga-ish, I run from them. They don't have a damn job. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those guys don't work, or they feel like, "Oh, I'm anti-capitalist and I'm bucking against the man." It's like, "No, bro, you just don't want a job." So I run from guys like that. Like, I don't want my BFF clone. I don't want you going to yoga class with me. I want you to go make money while me and my girlfriends go to yoga, and then I want to go shopping and spend your money afterwards. That's what's important to me. I don't need you at the yoga class with me. I don't need to go on a yoga retreat with you. No, thank you. That's not, and I just feel like sometimes, we as Black women, we can just want too much in one package. We end up following the wrong trait or the wrong quality that we think is a good quality. And then down the line, you realize you're totally unhappy. So he would stay on the phone with you all night and y'all just talk and talk and talk. He just listen to listen. You're just going on and on and on. And you're like, y'all really bond on that. But like at the end of the day, you're not happy with that. So he moves in there and he's just talking and talking and talking to you. He doesn't contribute the house. He's not taking care of the bills, the mortgage. And he's like, well, why aren't you satisfied? Like, I wooed you talking to you. You know what I'm saying? I got you to get with me and just by talking to you. So, and that made you happy. Like, why aren't you happy anymore? Why aren't you happy? Like, why isn't this working? And well, we'll switch it up on them. Oh, well, now I want a provider. Well, no, no, Barbara, if you want a provider, he should be providing from the start. He should be providing from the start. This is another big thing I see people do. They get with these guys, they'll sit up here and marry them or get into a serious relationship or have a baby with them. And then they're like, well, once we get married, he's going to start. No, that's typically not how it works from what I've observed. Most provider men have been providing from the very start. They don't, they're not 50-50, y'all going Dutch or them mooching off of you. And then all of a sudden they transform into these, these wonderful providers. That doesn't work. Like that's a fairy tale. That's a freak accident. That's like a lightning striking and that random thing that men have some epiphany and just become providers. Like, no, they typically provide from the beginning. Ay, Dios santo. Karma 52 says, no one should make women feel bad about dating if they're single. People get sleeping with and dating confused. You're absolutely right, Karma 52, pardon me. You're absolutely right. I want to do another video. I'm going to do one on Black women in luxury. I'm going to do a video on that. And I'm also going to be doing a video on dispelling the myths of level up dating. Because there is a spectrum. There's sugar babies in the movement. There's strippers in the movement. There's women who are want to be married. There's women who want to scam. There's women who are just treating men like men treat women. There's a lot of women like that. There's women who are just dating to be dating. There's women who have financial goals with dating, and they, so it's just such a spectrum of people who are doing level up dating. But what I can say is that level up dating discourages random sex. Level up dating discourages promiscuity. Level up dating focuses on getting provisions and having wonderful experiences without promiscuity. Because when we are getting resources from men, we are not going to be able to get those resources and get those resources locked in if we are extremely promiscuous. It doesn't work like that. So we don't really have escorts or prostitutes necessarily in this level up dating movement, because prostitutes and escorts have always been around, and they always, it's just, it's an old profession, sex work. So sex workers aren't really in it, and I think that that's what people think it is. Or people say, oh, well, you're dating these guys, you got to be getting something from it. And so I think I talked about that in my last video of my friend who wouldn't allow the man to fix her brakes, because she's like, well, what does he want? And then in the last video that I shared about the black men who don't want to compete, talking to the older pick-me-sha, she was saying that, well, I don't want him to pay my mortgage because I don't want him to pay him because what will he want from me? Or, he'll think he running, and it's like, girl, he's already over there. So he should be paying that mortgage if he's laid up in your bed. Like, what's going on? So leveled up dating discourages promiscuity, because when men have to pay and invest a lot of money into a woman to gain access to, a sexual connection, they're going to think long and hard about who they invest their money in. And they're also not going to necessarily have, unless they're super, super wealthy, they're not going to necessarily have money to wine and dine that many women. So if they're well off or they're doing okay and they have discretionary income specifically for dating and entertaining, they might can entertain one woman at a time, which decreases, promiscuity, it decreases baby mamas, it decreases all of that. And at the very least, he's proven that he's willing to spend money on you. I want to do another video about Dusties getting access to us without investing anything. We have absolutely no indication to know if they would be able to afford a child, you see. Now, is it possible for somebody to be wealthy and well off and neglect their child, or try to hide money and not, invest into their child, or maybe not marry the woman or whatever? Yeah, that's possible. It's possible. But most of the time, if a guy has been spending money on the mother of that child, investing a lot of money in her, driving far off, planning elaborate dates, making reservations, putting in effort, jumping through hoops, that is the reproduction part. That's the reproductive vetting that we have. How far will you go if I have babies with you? I need you to be able to fight off bears. I need you to be able to walk through hot coals. I need you to be able to protect this house when I cannot, because I'm vulnerable and I'm pregnant, I'm having a baby. That's why we do what we do with the level up dating. It's not because we ain't got nothing better to do. It's just that we need to get it right. Procreating is important. And we as Black women, we've been limiting ourselves. We've been limiting ourselves to a dust bucket, trash bag group of males, underdeveloped, low-level males who smile at us and tell us we're cute, and we busting it wide open for them. And that hasn't worked for us. It's not worked. So we are going back to the old school days where you vet. You vet, 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 vet. Mocha Mommy says, rings and marriage license ain't never make a man act right. You right. You right, Mocha Mommy. He should be showing you, you should have certain qualities. Like I just shared with you my list, but you make up your own list, and you have your own way of vetting to see what the guy is doing from the very beginning. Because typically, and this is something my godmother always told me, she said he will always give you his best first. That's what she said. He will always give you his best first. So the best should be amazing. So that way you got somewhere to go down from. You see, you don't want to meet him at Starbucks at a park, because you ain't got nowhere to go down from there from Netflix and chill. And from Netflix and chill, you ain't got nothing to go down to besides a collect call because he in jail. Like, you need somewhere. You need to know that if this is the best is amazing. Because I have seen that ring true. Karma 52 says exactly. Mocha Mommy says, we can't keep grading on the curve. It only creates real world failures. Can you further explain that, Mocha Mommy? I want to know what the curve means. Or do you mean like the outliers? Yeah, let's let me know what you mean by that. So yeah, power of suggestion, emotional needs. Oh, y'all, and my Bloomingdale's package came here today. So one of my main guys that I was telling you about, that the one who called me first and was concerned, and he's the first one to send me something for the car. He had bought me a bag. Well, he gave me money to buy a bag. I think I talked about that on a different live. And the bag sold out. I went to Saks. I tried to get it, and it was sold out. Bag has been sold out. So I've been like hounding the internet, waiting on this bag to come in back on stock. I didn't get the color that I wanted, but I just wanted to hurry up and order it before they were all sold out. So I just ordered it from Bloomingdale's, and it arrived today. So it was great, like in the midst of my car issue and, just being stressed out because it's hot and whatnot. Just like coming home and seeing my Bloomingdale's box and opening up my bag, I was like, yay, I'm so excited. So I ordered a wallet too from, I think I ordered the Saks. I think yeah. I got the wallet from Saks and I got the bag from Bloomingdale's. So the wallet should be here tomorrow, and I don't know if I'm going to keep it in that color or if I'm going to change it to another color, but I'm just going to see what it means. Okay, Karma 52 says, I think so many women settle for a certain type of men, the talkers, not providers, just to say they have a man, mainly because they are afraid to be alone. Absolutely, Karma 52. I'm going to do a video on why pick-me-shas are dangerous to Black girls. I'm going to do a video on that, because just analyzing my mother's pick-me-sha nature and her constantly putting me in danger because of her pick-me-sha-ish and putting me in harm's way with degenerate Black males. And I've seen this so many times. And just looking at my own little one and talking to the pick-me-shas at the family affair that I was at the other day, I thought to myself, my child is not safe with these people, not with these women. And of course, I don't trust any Black male until I don't trust any male, period. But I don't trust any Black male till you prove to me that you're trustworthy. I just assume you're a pedophilic monster. Like, I would never leave a child with a Black man, even in my own, like my brother, yes, my brother, I would. But any of my cousins, no. I don't think that children in general are safe with Black men alone that are not their like immediate family members. So anyway, I veered off. But yeah, like I'm going to do a video on that. I thought to myself, like, we can do family gatherings that I'm there, but as far as me leaving my child with these pick-me-shas, I won't, because pick-me-shas don't have discernment. They don't use their intuition. They don't have they're not self-preserving, right? The safest people to be around are the people who protect their own life. Because if you're with people who protect their own life, you're more likely to be safe. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense. You want to be with people who are self-preserving. You want to be with people who fight for their own best interest. That's the type of friends and company you want to keep. You don't want to keep the company of people who don't value their life. Those are the type of people who do stupid shit. Those are the type of people who do crime. Those are the type of people who become victimized or who victimize. So I'm thinking like these pick-me-shas aren't advocating for themselves. I seem to love them more than they love themselves. My child is not safe with you people. Not with these males who are underdeveloped and not with your ass. And I think that as women, we should be able to rely on the sisterhood to protect the children. We should be. And this is something that my godmother has always instilled into me, that we provide a protective hedge for all Black children, right? We provide that protective hedge. She's never taught me to rely on men to protect the children. We are the mama bears primarily. We send them off. Okay, go over there and shoot that. Okay, take that person out. Okay, we're the mastermind, but when it comes down to it, we're naturally more protective. Males will never admit this, but it is true. So we have these pick-me-shas amongst us, and we think we're looking at a self-preserving Black woman. We think we're looking at our sister when she's not a lot of times. She's not in alignment with us to protect the children. She got other agendas, including what you're talking about, Karma 52. Somebody to lay next to her, just to say they have a man, mainly because they are afraid to be alone. Pick-me-shas will sell a lot of things. They will allow a lot of things and facilitate a lot of things for this very reason. And for this very reason is very unsafe for particularly Black girls. Particularly Black girls. And the reason why I say that is because pick-me-sha is so disconnected from her own inner child, her own trauma, her own pain, that she doesn't see it in the girls or her own girls. Refer to a video that Paris Milan recorded about a Black mother talking about the difference in how she treats her Black daughter versus her Black son. And it's quite disgusting. But I'm glad that Paris Milan was able to level-headedly interview this woman, because this type of pathology needs to be exposed. Why are some Black females who are mothers so vicious to their Black daughters? Why? When I counsel with women about getting out of abusive relationships, you know what one of the number one abusive relationships they have? It's the abusive relationship that they have with their own mother. Mother cuss them out, throw stuff at them, do all kinds of stuff. Humiliate them, nice, nasty, passive aggressive, borrow money from them, don't pay it back, all kinds of manner of abusive shit. But because in the Black community, we are so beholden to this mother figure. Oh, respect your mama, and mama this and this and that. Mother is a title, just like father. Mother is a title that is earned. Just because you push the baby out your stuff don't necessarily mean that you are entitled to all of the benefits that motherhood has to offer in the Black community, as far as at least the optics of reverence and respect from your children. At some point in time, the respect is earned, and you're teaching your children what type of relationships to be in and what type of relationships to accept. So if you are abusive, overbearing, condescending, demoralizing, degrading, devaluing to your girls, and then when they get into a relationship with a Black male who's degrading, demoralizing, devaluing, dehumanizing, they treat them like a workhorse and all this and this and that, want respect that they haven't earned, and you want to be like, why you go out and choose this guy? A lot of time he ain't nothing but you wrapped in a male's body. Toxic pick-me-shas and Black males have a lot in common, because the males are extremely effeminate, right? Mocha Mommy says, if you grade on a curve, it means that you only accept their best and not the best. Okay. I see what you're saying, Mocha Mommy. Yeah, you're right. So it's, I guess that's a little bit also that moving goalposts as well, you know, and not just having a standard. Like the standard is this. You meet it or you don't. As a woman, state your requirements and expectations right from the start and don't settle for less. You know, Karma, I've been playing around with this. I've been playing around with different words. For example, like I tried pick me. I tried privileged princess for a little while. That didn't go over well with my guy. You know, with like some people I was talking to, that didn't go over well. So you kind of have to play with your words as far as your requirements and your standards and your expectations, because sometimes I see women who like they want to be feminine, but they approach, I've seen, because they'll send me like, oh, look at this text message thread, like where did I go wrong, he ghosted me, or where did I, what's going on, he hasn't responded. So I kind of see the conversation, right, of what the ladies are talking to with these gentlemen. And so sometimes women can be very aggressive. Well, I expect this and I expect that and I need to do and I need you and I expect for you to do this. And there's the thing about the standards and the requirements, those standards and requirements need to be in your head. Or you can write them down in your journal. Some people make affirmations about them. I think there's a lot of power in writing down your standards and your requirements, you know, and organizing how you want to do that. But you don't have to meet someone, hi, hello, my name is so and so. It's nice to meet you. Here are my requirements. Because there has to be some fantasy, draw him into a fantasy, be a fantasy, entice him, allure him. And so you want to communicate your requirements and your standards in a way that it's coming off as understood, but you don't have to preface it with that. So if he offers something that is, well, you can kind of hint at kind of what you want without um, explicitly saying it. I don't know, to where you start hinting at certain types of cuisines or certain types of experiences that you enjoy. And then he's like, oh, well, what about this particular steakhouse? Or what about this place? Or what do you feel? Or if he feels like, oh my God, because sometimes guys don't know, like, especially if it's a dating app or they don't know, like, they don't know if, like, they'll try you. Like, they might try a cheaper place or just try, oh, would you want to meet up for drinks or something? They might try to throw that in there because they lowball offer. If you could think about this as a negotiation, they'll lowball offer, not because they don't have it. It's just they want as much bang for their buck as possible. So if they can get a beautiful woman like you, right, who's eloquent and put together, to come and meet them for a drink, they'll take it. But if you come back with your negotiation and you're like, up, then a guy can be like, well, let me look into some things, because he knows he probably gonna have to make reservations. Okay. Let me look into some things, and I'm gonna, he wants to research at that point, girl. When you didn't take him up on the drinks and you didn't take him up on the coffee, he like, okay, I'm dealing with it. Let me research and present some things to you. Well, do you like this? Are you pescatarian? Do you have any allergies? You'll start getting them messages. He'll start inquiring because his ass is on Google and Yelp looking for a special place to take you because he wants to impress you. So you don't have to tell him, I only go to 5-star restaurants. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's my requirement. You don't have to say that. It's just the way you say it, the power of suggestion and hinting and directing and guiding him and pulling him into you. That's how you get those great date offers. And if, like, he gets out of bounds, direct him back in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he says, oh, you look sexy or something like that, and you would prefer to be called beautiful or something like that doesn't involve the word sex at all, and you don't want to talk about sex at all. I just had to put a guy in check the other day, and he was like, oh, I really like how you talk. I had to put him in check the other day because he was like going into this sexual conversation. And I was like, do you have the ability to like control yourself? I was like, "What do you mean?" I was just wondering if you are in control or if things are just compulsive for you. And he was like, "No, I'm in control." I said, "Okay," because I prefer, at this point in our connection, I don't want to talk about anything related to sex. And then, okay, so that's that. But let me tell you the part that draws them back in. Just tell them, I am a very good communicator and I'll be very blunt and honest with you. Guys, I don't know for why they love the word blunt. I will be very blunt with you. When I'm ready to talk about sex, I will give you the green light and you will know it'll be crystal clear. And so they're like, oh, okay, okay. Because now they have something to look forward to. So they can control themselves in the meantime and not talk about sex, but they know that sooner or later you're going to give them the green light that they can do it, right? So that's my standard and that's my requirement, but I didn't say it like that, like this is my standard. You got to do it like this. Uh, they don't value innocence, so they don't protect it. We have to be careful. You're absolutely right. And I think it's because they don't so many people don't think that black girls are innocent, period. I want to do another video just specifically on that. I know that many people have already put out content on that, but I still want to share my perspective on it. Um, I want to share my perspective on how you know, we don't value black girlhood. And, I think about the young lady, I think she was in Washington, D.C., where the dark skinned black men threw her in the garbage pail, threw her in the dumpster. I don't know if you saw that. I know Paris Milan covered it. I think Chrissy covered it. But that's how they see us as dark and brown skinned black women. They picked this girl up and threw her in the dumpster. And I feel like if you're able to do that, you could kill her because you see her as trash. So on a lot of these on the live streams, like my thing about sexism, like I want women to cook and clean and make me sandwiches doesn't bother me that much. It's irritating, but I kind of don't give a shit. Um, that part doesn't bother me about their movement. Even the like, I want to have sex with you after 3 dates part of it, that doesn't bother me that much. I want you to go Dutch with me, like all your requests. What worries me about those live streams is the environment of violence around black women. The slapping sound effects, which I talked about in my open call video, the slapping sound effects, the hitting sound effects, they put the RIP emoji in the chat. It's less now because now it's members only chat, but when the chat was open, it would be like RIP. They would have the coffin symbol or the rest in peace symbol, and it's like she's dead or kill her, and um, calling the women dogs or things of that nature. It's dehumanizing. And so if we look at genocide over the course of human development or major wars, or when people go in like the Belgians did to the Congolese or the British did to the Tasmanians, or those kinds of genocides, they don't consider the people, or even our own experience as African Americans here. You have to dehumanize people first before you abuse them to make it psychologically all right for you. So when these live streams of these degenerate black males that dehumanize black women, we already have a huge issue with domestic violence and with us being murdered. How many of us have been murdered this year in 2021 alone? What worries me about the live streams is that it's an echo chamber of affirmation of killing black women. And I know some of the males think this is a stretch, but you you don't you don't come out and usually kill your wife or your girlfriend or some woman. There's a story. I'll share this. There was a woman, I'll never forget this, because some stories just stick with you and you just can't let them go. I cried. Like, this was my homegirl. I did not know this woman from a can of paint. I don't know why her story resonated with me so much, but I was just so, I just, I was literally like mourning this girl's death. This young lady had graduated high school. Um, Tanjanika Stanton. I'll never forget her name. I hope I don't get emotional. Tanjanika Stanton graduated high school at 17 years old. She was with her mother in Southeast Washington, D.C. They were barbecuing burgers out on the lawn. A black male walked by her, tried to talk to her, asked for a hamburger. She said she wasn't old enough to talk to boys. She couldn't talk to him. Her mommy was in the house, and he killed her. He came back and he shot her, and she died. And the mom got shot too, but the mom lived. The mom lived, but Tanjanika died at 17 years old, and she had been accepted to college, and she would have been the first person to go to. She would have been the first person to go to college in her family. So, you know what 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 concerns me about these echo chambers of affirmation, of treating black women as though we are subhuman, or we we are disposable. We are a resource, a pump and dump to be used, a mule to serve you. And if we don't agree to your terms of servitude, of exploitation, then we are worthy to be killed because we are useless. The only thing we're good for is pump and dump resources. And if we don't agree with that for you and quote submit to this arrangement that you want us to be in, you could just dispose of us. We're not allowed in your pathology to reject your advances. And that's why so many of us are being killed. So when you have this show when a woman says something that you don't like, you have a slapping sound effect. How many of the males that's on this call do you think are in some situationship where the woman says something that he doesn't like and he actually slaps her and commit whatever type of violence? Or just because he woke up on the wrong side of the bed and he is violent with her? This is like a real situation. And I'm going to be doing another video with, what's the guy's name? The guy from the ADOS movement who tried to, I don't know what magical statistics he found, but in his argument, black women and black men are equally violent when it comes to domestic violence. That is his position as a dark-skinned black man. That's what he presented to the world. And it was a long time ago, but I'm one of those people that I don't forget about stuff like that. I will dig it up and I will rehash it because I don't want that narrative to grow legs, because it is absurd. It's absolutely not the truth. It's absolutely not the truth. Black women do not commit domestic violence at the same rate as black men. Mocha Mommy tells Karma 52, you got to finesse and suggest, not be direct. Yep. I've been out of the single life. Okay. Well, you might be able to tell the younger ones, Karma. And actually, Karma, you might, if you got a man or have whatever situationship you in, you can still get stuff. Mocha Mommy says, sometimes I think there can be strategy for drinks and coffee dates, especially if you are new to the game and have not dated in a long time. You may have to book 2 in one day and a multitask. Mocha Mommy, maybe. Big fat maybe. Big fat maybe. Because, yeah, I mean, big fat maybe. So many different things, and I would still try to do 5-star. Make him valet his car. Put up something to make it hard, because if you're fragile, you don't want to date a guy who you're not his preference, or you're not like, he's not trying to impress you. It's very dangerous for women, and we could waste a lot of time with situations like that. So we still need some type of barriers. For me personally, I know everybody has to come up with a strategy that works for them. For me personally, the only way I would do it is if a successful businessman, and he's like flying out and he's like, meet me at the Delta Sky Lounge or like something along those lines, I would maybe do that. But the rest of it, I don't, yeah, I don't know. I've done things multiple ways, and I found that to skip to the most serious, not serious as in I'm gonna marry him, but serious as in you are the woman I want, you are my type, I'm going to try to impress you, I'm going to go after you, I'm going to whatever invest into you, into this situation. I found that bypassing coffee and drinks has been successful for me. Because if a guy's like, well, let just meet me for drinks and let's see how it goes if we have chemistry, I'm like, you're trying to see if you're sexually attracted to me. That's probably what it is. You know? You like, because I'm not probably not really your type. You know what I'm saying? So, to each her own, but that's my little 2 cents on that. Um, Karma says, I agree with that. It's about how you start and what you correct. Yep, absolutely. It's a shame that they're desensitized and to our humanity as Black women. Yeah, yeah. And I think that so many of us have given up. And I think that more and more women have given up. I'm going to be going out with a white guy next week, and he hasn't dated black women before. I just think that so many white men haven't had access to some of our top tier Black women. You know what I mean? Like some of like our baddies are like, they haven't necessarily had access to a variety of Black women, or it just wasn't as so prevalent. But now their buddies are going out with Black ladies, they're seeing Instagrams a little bit, or they're seeing people out and about town, and these white guys look so happy. And so other white guys are like, well, why is he so happy over there with that Black lady? Looks beautiful with him. Like, I never thought that it was possible. I didn't even know that I could even try to pursue a Black woman, but he looks happy. Like, I want to see if I could, so that's what's happening. So we are slowly chunking the deuces, more and more and more and more and more of us. I absolutely love that many of the conclusions that I've come to independent of being on people's channels. You know what I'm saying? Like, not hearing people share their experience or saying what they think is worked or what's worked for them or where they've come to with Black men. I, in my own silo, dealing with them, divesting for the most part from the conscious community and the Black power community, and moving from being Black pro-love to being Black self-preserving for Black women. Because I have seen, there's another story, I'll have to get the actual link, but there's one of these Black power couples where they have the most beautiful social media. The babies, the mama, the daddy, oh, he looked to be this great guy. She tried to leave him and he killed her. He had been abusing that woman and he killed her. And so I knew it was all full of shit. Like, we will prop up these guys on social media for the image of things, or for what the people at the church say, or for because this is what I got to do. I have to be abused to experience love. That's a pathology we have. Like, and a lot of that comes from beating your kids. You beat your kids, you beat them to a bloody pulp, and you tell them you love them. So they associate abuse with love, right? We have to stop that shit. We got to stop beating our kids and disrespecting them. Our children need agency. Our children need personal space. Our children need to know that people shouldn't hit them. But we teach them the complete opposite. You don't have agency. You can't speak up for yourself. You will be hit. So our boys developed the pathology of, well, I'll hit you and exploit you for you exploit me, because I wasn't old enough to defend myself when I was 5 and my mama was wailing on me and my daddy was wailing on my mama. So I'm going to beat you to the punch and abuse you first. And then the woman feels comfortable in an abusive situation because that's what she knows. We have a lot of things to clean up. We have a lot of things to clean up in our community. We really, really do. I think there are so many Black women who have so much fear for their safety that coffee and drinks, a centralized location, can ease them into dating. Yeah, I agree. I'm suggesting restaurants. So, I mean, I think we're on the same wavelength with that, Mokamami. I'm suggesting restaurants. I'm suggesting something that will be inconvenient. You want a guy, you want to inconvenience him a little bit. You want to inconvenience him a little bit. Um, I'll have to really think back as to when I first started dating and how, oh girl, I made so many daggone mistakes. I made so many mistakes. I mean, if I knew what I know now, I would have just skipped the whole coffee, date. But I understand. I think that people are at different levels. Some people are a little bit more introverted than others. And so coffee might be a good first step just to get the ball rolling, just to get out of the house and, you know, um, you know, just just to kind of develop those skills. But as far as like the level up ideology and what we trying to do, yeah, we have a different approach. So, you know, it depends. Karma says, I went to school with a girl who has been married and divorced more times than Elizabeth Taylor. She feels like she has to be married. Yeah, that's my cousin too. Yeah, that's one of my family members. She was with a guy. The ink wasn't even dry on her divorce, and she had moved this guy into her house. So, yeah, some people just feel like they have to be married. I give advice to a couple of friends, but I see they are not listening. So now I'm a sounding board. Okay. Well, as long as it's not draining you, Karma, because people can drain you. If they're not trying to help themselves, then you don't owe it to them to be their sounding board. In San Antonio and Austin, you see black women with other races. It's usually because of the career education military causes them to mingle with others, and the ratio favors women in these places. Yep. Yep, you're absolutely right, Mokamami. We're starting to we're starting to branch out. Like women who would never have like got off the bandwagon. They were so black love, black love, black love, my black man, my ideal man is this and black and this and that. You're starting to see that really change. I mean, not still a critical mass of black women who are very extremely race loyal and loyal to the black community and won't date outside. But I would say that from even 10 years ago, I'm seeing way more black women being willing to um, date outside the black race. And it's not necessarily because we want to per se. We would still to some degree prefer a black man, but I just think that you get to that point where you love yourself more than you love the idea of black love, and you're not willing to take years off of your life, put your life at risk, or, put your life in a permanent, perpetual state of dusty savagery for the sake of black love. So you kind of like, you start weighing it and you're like, yeah, I'm attracted to these men, but also I accept the facts. And the truth of the matter is like, they're really not all that attracted to me. They don't like publicly uplift dark skinned and black women that look like me. And they're dusty, they are not providers, and we're outpacing them economically. We're seeing all these hypogamous relationships fail in the public. The Jill Scotts, the Mary J. Bliges, we're seeing these dusty men come and exploit these black women. And we're starting to see it and like, okay, if I put myself in a situation like this and I'm earning at this level or I've developed myself at this level, it's highly likely that this won't be a successful relationship. So it's more important to me that I have a healthy relationship than I have a relationship with a black male. That's just any type of way. So I have to open up. We're being forced into it, whereas black men are literally running, sprinting, to um, other communities to date because of they have all these grievances about us that are silly. They really need to get on code. Like, if you want to go, just go, but you don't have to be like, you know, they're all Sharkeishas and the bonnets, and y'all are some sophisticated ladies that's on this live right now. I'm just like, who are these people? Okay, I I've never worn a bonnet out in my life. Okay, and I'm not super bougie, but I just never saw my mom do it. I never went to the store in pajamas. I don't have any tattoos. Most of my friends don't. Like, I'm just like, how are you? All of my friends have degrees, advanced degrees. Like, who are these black women that you're talking about exactly? Are you literally taking a small subset of black women and saying that we all are angry and have an attitude? When we can gently ask you, like, babe, I want to take my postpartum, I want to take a year off of working and have a baby. And then you're going to go off on the woman because you want her to be 50-50. But you want a feminine woman at the same time. Like, they want contradictory things. I want to record another video on that too, because I started kind of writing down all the contradictions that black males have. I want a feminine woman, but I want her to pay half or most all the bills. I want a woman to submit, but I also have no fucking plan for my life or hers. I have no vision for our family. Black women are the problem. Black single mothers are the problems of all the kids that have dysfunction, but the black males are fine. Their abandonment and abuse doesn't count. Girl, this trash bag logic makes no sense. No sense. And this is another thing. And I've been talking to my siblings, both of my siblings. I've been talking to my siblings, and we have been processing through and talking about trauma from our childhood. And it's like, we can talk to about each other because we would understand more than anybody else because we were both there. We were all there, you know, and, talking with my brother about different toxic things that we've had to release and stuff like that. And my brother is just, I have a whole live on him called, well, not on him, but just in general called Blossoming Late into Divine Femininity. You can listen to that video if you want to hear about my brother's journey. But talking with my brother who is providing for his household now, he also does stuff for me too as his sister, because my child's father is not helping me. My brother's kind of stepped up. So my brother is filling these shoes that he did not have a blueprint for. His dad is an alcoholic, AWOL. My dad is a monster, trash bag. I think I want to do like an official renouncing. Like, I want nothing to do with this guy. I want to do like an official, this ain't my daddy. I don't like him. Some type of spiritual ritual to cut all cords with this demon. So, me and my brother are just kind of talking, and we realized that we are doing things that, like, I didn't have a good example in my mother, who's a toxic mess, and all of the men in our lives, all the black males in our lives growing up, most of them were trash. And so me and my brother have had to figure everything out the hard way, and finally we're getting it, and he's stepping up more and more and more and more with his family, and providing for them, and doing the things that he needs to do for his family. So yeah. But I know what I was going to say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I wanted to say is, like, part of that trash bag logic is dusty males. I've heard them spout off like, oh, women use all these antidepressants and women have mental illness and women have anxiety and depression. No, you guys are fucked up too. The only difference between you and us is that we put a name to what's happening with us. I'm stressed. We can actually fucking communicate. I'm depressed. Let me take care of myself. Let me step off of social media. Let me do what I got to do. I'm have anxiety. Let me do my breathing. Let me drink my water. Let me do the things that I need to do to manage my anxiety. I'm grieving the loss of a job. I'm grieving the loss of this relationship. I'm grieving the loss of this or that. I'm upset because I didn't have this. I'm disappointed that I did. We actually can name what is happening with us, and we are accountable for our feelings and emotions, and we do something about it to help ourselves. You nig cells sit over there. You're angry, but you won't say you're angry, but you be fuming at the mouth, literally steam coming out your ear, but you're like, I don't have emotions. I'm only logical. Really? Really? You feel abandoned because your daddy left you, but you won't say it. You won't name it. You won't claim it, although it's true. You don't know how to express. You have all the. So you mean to tell me we came out of the same toxic households? Some of us, not all of us. I know some of my subscribers had perfectly wonderful households, and kudos to y'all. Some of us grew up in toxicity, me included. Okay. I come through some of the ugliest parts of Black society. Okay? Seen it. Been there. Seen it. So me and my brother come out of the same toxic household. He's perfect because he's a Black male and we live in a Black male worshiping culture. He's fine. But me, I have the problems because, oh, I have depression from time to time, anxiety from time to time. I have these issues. It's only me, only the Black women. We're the only ones who are messed up. But y'all came out fine. That's just trash bag logic. It doesn't make any sense. You imbeciles just don't, well, that's rude. You guys don't want to deal with your trauma. And you want to project your pain, your frustration on us. And we are saying, I cannot heal myself and be well and do your work for you. I'm not doing your work for you anymore, Tyrone. Turn in your own fucking worksheet, okay? I'm not doing your work. I'm going to focus on passing my own test. So Black women are saying, no, no, Tyrone, I won't. This is your stuff. This is your trash bag. Don't bring your trash bag into my yard. This is your trash bag. Take it back. That's where we are right now. You can't make that's trash bag logic that we came out and we're messed up, but you're fine. You have no problems. Every single relationship problem is the woman's problem. You guys are just not submissive enough. If we submitted anymore, we would just be prostrated laying on the floor, like not moving. Like we can't. I'm going to do another video. I have this long list. I'm going to do another video on how femininity doesn't work on dusties because I tried that. Okay, so I've been in the feminine game for a long time. Homemaking. I used to be a vegan chef. Gardening. Okay, composting. Homemaking, entertaining, all of that. Jewelry making, all that. All the feminine frilly stuff that you can imagine. And I tried to be feminine with Black male dusties. African American males literally do not give you the space to be feminine. They just don't give you the space. You are feminine. They force you into a masculine role by hook or by crook. You can go kicking and screaming. I don't want to be masculine. I don't want to take care of it. I don't want to be in charge of that. I don't want to be the leader. I don't want to be responsible for that. They force you into it. And then you just feel icky. You feel angry. You feel resentful because you feel out of sorts. You were just fine being feminine and free. And then once you got with them, you're basically forced into this, like, I'm the mama and the daddy in a relationship, and you get to be the adolescent boy. That's how it is. Like, Black women are the Black daddy and the Black mama in the relationship. And then the guy is the adolescent teenage boy with just no sense of masculine and manhood and masculinity. I mean, I at this point, until further notice, I will not be entertaining any African American males. I just don't have the patience. I don't have the time. I just don't want to deal with it. Black men from other countries, I do well with. All the guys that sent me something today, they're not American. They're Black from other countries. Okay, so I know how to handle. I know they're not all. Some of them are trash bags. I know, not all. I know. But for whatever reason, I keep finding the ones that can do right, and I know how to handle them. Okay, so I'm comfortable over there. Now I have my white guy. I have my other white guy in the pipeline. I'm going out with the Indian guy tomorrow. I will date the rainbow. Okay. So I'm just to the point where the toxicity of the African American conversations is just too much for me. I don't want to deal with that shit. Like the femininity, the chase me, the I'm so cute. Okay. Go. I don't want you competing with me on looks. Allow me to be a woman. And if you want a masculine woman, go find one. I'm just not her. Not demonizing masculine women, but you're not going to find that over here. And so if you won't move and I won't move, you won't chase me and I won't chase you, then we're not going to have a relationship, period. All right. Karma says that's interesting. Although I've dated black men, I don't have a problem with those who choose to explore options. Absolutely. I think you should choose your options without disparaging black women on the way out. I think that's F-boy culture that mess black women up. They feel rejection from women who have standards, self-esteem, or values. That is how they end up with ratchets. Absolutely. There was something that my godmother taught me years ago. She said, guys will often have a self-fulfilling prophecy. They and she was telling me, like, she was saying it in the sense of, like, don't chase a man. Like my godmother told me, stay in the car, let him open the car door, and forever. Like, not the first 3 dates. She was married to her husband for 20 years. He would still get out the car and go open the door. And so she would, and I had a hard time with this at the beginning, staying in the car, because sometimes they get out the car, they start talking to somebody else, then they go get something out the trunk, then they, I'll be ready. Oh, I'm go, go, go. I want to get out the car. And she would just sit in the car and wait on her husband to come and open up the door. And so what she was trying to teach me was stay the prize. Stay the prize. Continue to be inconvenient for him. Continue to be somebody that he has to go above and beyond. He gotta open your door. Continue to do that. Don't do that at the beginning and then slack off and let him become lazy. Keep him on his toes. And she was like, never chase a man, and don't let a man come to, don't let a man come to your house empty handed ever. My godmother taught me that. She was like, I don't care if you don't need nothing. He gonna take something from you and he gonna use something at your house. If it's like, baby, can you stop by and get some toilet paper, or can you bring me some paper towels and some water? She was like, never ever allow a man to show up to your house empty handed. So a lot of those things that my godmother taught me, it took me a while to start actually implementing them. But now that I have, it makes sense. These dusties, and like, you can go to YouTube and look at the male sphere, and they'll have videos that says, don't chase a woman, don't invest in a woman, don't compliment a woman. What other what I'm trying to think, what other little struggle bandit dusty mindset advice that they have. But I think the biggest one is don't chase a woman. So for me, for example, I don't none of my I've never been ghosted by a guy. um I've never been ghosted. I've never, guys, I might block them, they don't block me, because it's when we part ways, it's always very amicable and very mature, right? Because I'm what you call a high caliber, high developed woman, of high standards, high class, respectful of myself, my environment. I have a lot to live for. I have a lot to, you know what I mean? So I've never destroyed a male's property. I've never hit a man. I've never been hit by a man in a relationship. I've never grabbed them. I've never put my hand in a man's face. I would never allow a man to put his hand in my face. There's a certain way I carry myself. There are millions of women out there just like me. But the women like us, we don't chase men. So for you effeminate struggle dusties who rest in your effeminate ways, waiting on the desperate women to come to you, they're coming to you with the energy of cutting up your clothes when you cheat on them and slapping you in the face or throwing, bleach on your clothes or keying your car or throwing a brick through the window because they saw somebody on a movie do it. That's the kind of females that you're going to attract because you don't have anything to offer and they don't have any requirements. So when you have nothing to offer on one hand, and you have no requirements on the other hand, you can see how that's a match made in hell. It's a match made in hell. You know what I'm saying? And then you project your experience of the low level Sharkeishas that you have access to. You project that onto the masses of Black women when that doesn't match the data. We're graduating at college at one of the highest rates of any ethnic group and gender group in America. We're highly educated. We have all kinds of professional organizations. Okay. We have all kinds of political positions. We're more represented in politics and a lot of politics than y'all are. We're doing things in politics. We're doing things in professional organizations. We're educating ourselves. We're moving into we're much more stable than you guys are as far as keeping us a firm address, not being homeless. Black men make up the most homeless in America. So you guys are the ones who are vagabonds moving from place to place. We are much more stable than you guys. Even when we're on public assistance or even when we are, at a lower economic we're still more stable. So you you can't project your struggle bandit experiences on the masses of Black women just because you don't have access to us. You don't know what you're missing. You think that playing Xbox all day and then getting on a live stream to degrade Black women, you think that's the end all be all of life, right? You think that there's nothing better than playing Xbox all day, going on Pornhub, and then going over to the abusive live streams, and you think that that's going to fulfill you, when in reality, you're not fulfilled. If you have any masculinity in you at all, you're going to be very frustrated with the fucked up life that you've created for yourself. You just don't, and then you misplace your anger on us because you don't really realize that you're angry with yourself. You're mad that Sharkeisha, Pikmisha is the only one you have access to, but you're not willing to do the work to get the high caliber woman that you desire, that would, that there's maybe you don't consciously desire it, but there's some aspect of you that wants a high quality woman. Of course, the physical too. We tend to be pretty. You want that. It's the epitome of, and that's kind of what happened in the screenshots that I'm going to show y'all. Like, will you be my girlfriend? No. Well, fuck it in, bitch. That's basically how Black men are. That's basically how they are. Will you be my girlfriend? Do you go out with me? I like you. And you're like, no, I'm good. I already got a man. Well, then F you then. B, you ugly anyway. Which one is it? Is it more struggle logic or more struggle contradictions? You approach me because you want me. You don't get what you want. Now I'm the most undesirable female on the planet. Shut up. Stop it. Stop it. Mocha Mommy says, if you really want to get mad, lower your volume and ask a direct question. Oh, if you really want them to get mad, lower your volume and ask a direct question. Yes, you heard my video that I did with the young man that I talked to. I was very feminine with him, but he just was angry and just mad just because. Just because. No reason. They can't handle feminine women. Can you imagine what it was like being in cotillions and pageants during the 90s hip hop culture? Yeah, I got the memo early that I had no currency with Black men. Yeah, Mocha Mommy, I think you might be a little bit older than me, but I know exactly what you're going through because I did go to school in a predominantly white school, and the Black guys did not want me until high school. They did not want They only wanted white girls, Mexican girls. They did not want me or women that look like me until like we were like about to finish high school, and like all the white girls looked like they were 25, 30 years old in high school. Seriously, these girls aged by high school. And then all the black girls, we all are coming into our feminine. We look beautiful. We're radiating. Our melanin is popping. We got our shapes, and they can't, now they want us. So this is like that was a big deal. Like you might be talking about 90, but like early 2000s, this was definitely my experience. Like I normally don't agree with, for Harriet, Kimberly, I normally don't agree with her, but I agree with her every so often on a handful of things. And when she said that there's a struggle, dusty fallacy of, you guys just don't want the black nerds, and that's your problem, and that's why we can't get women. No, it's not true. The black nerds didn't want the black girl nerds. I was in the band. So how nerdier can you get? How nerdier can you get? The black nerds, the black athletes, it didn't matter. They were not checking for us, the black women. So I'm glad that you got the memo early, Milka Mommy. It took me a long while to get the memo. Low key men like when a woman puts in the work. They do. Oh my God, they do. Because the family member that I was talking to today, he was able to take care of more than he normally does. So he was able to do like all the mortgage and all the car payments and all the insurance and like because he opened up a new business. He was like, family member, I feel so good doing that for my family. Can you imagine? Like, I mean, men can't imagine how we feel to have a menstruation, and men don't know what it feels like for us to have a baby. They don't know what it feels like for us to have hormonal changes inside of us. They can only, try to understand, but they won't know. We will never know the feeling that a real man has when he can puff out his chest, stand in his yard, look at his house, see his kids playing in a nice neighborhood, seeing his wife being feminine, fancy, being free, being comfortable, being safe, and know I did this. All of this is because of what I did. And the satisfaction that brings to real men. And many of our black underdeveloped males will never experience that. They'll never achieve that. They just remain in a perpetual state of adolescence. What did she say? Karma says, I'm still listening. Gotta step away for a second. Okay, Karma, you can catch the replay, my love. One thing is the problem is how men think that women are stupid. Those men get women who play dumb, but then play them for everything they're worth. Yeah, you can use it. What I've learned is that you can definitely use those manipulation tactics for good or for evil. You know what I'm saying? Manipulation is neutral. It's neutral. It's just a tool. But are you going to use it for evil? Or are you going to use it for good? That's the question. Are you going to use it to funnel money for your household and for your children? Because you have to play the game that's not necessarily fair, and nobody was harmed in the taping of this music. Nobody was harmed during the filming of this project. Nobody was harmed, no harm, no foul. There was a fair exchange of energy, fair exchange. Then, maybe it's not so bad, but you could, as long as you're not hurting anyone and it's a fair, even exchange. All right, beautiful ladies, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all's contributions, and definitely let me know what y'all want to talk about later. I know we veered off, but initially I was talking about how my new roster, well, it's not really new. It's really not new. There's only one sort of new guy on there, but he's not that new. How I revived my roster through the power of suggestion, seduction, mouthpiece, ego stroking, and I brought my roster back to life, and I'm enjoying a more comfortable life because of just that. And one of these guys, he ended up getting a new job, and he opened up a business, and I know he has a business abroad too. He's a contender. I mean, everybody is, but well, no, not everybody. He's a contender. I can't get sucked into his emotionalism, but if he continues to be a respectful provider the way he is, and he's able to rack up tenure with that, he's definitely a contender. And I don't think he would have any problem with the fact that I'm not going to commit myself to working outside the home. I'm only going to work inside the home. So, and I know he would be fine with that. All right, beautiful ladies. Thank y'all. Love you. Have a good night. Peace.